Okay, and we're back to the in here. So we just got done cleaning the heads up. So now we gotta figure out what we're gonna do about the rest of this stuff. Normally I go through and clean all these parts already, but in this case, I haven't done it yet. Let's see what this stuff looks like. Figure out what I'm gonna do with all this junk. Another one. I don't like rusty springs, so I'm seeing how much rust we got here. Looks like we're gonna get a little rust on this one on the bottom. It's not on this side. I think it's only on the bottom coil, so. And a little bit through here, which I don't like. The coil can break off right here. So I don't like this spring too much, so I might go find another one. Okay, initially it looked like they're all the same height, so that means they're probably not sagged out. Pull out the collars. The valves. Okay, these are stock lowers. So to put valve seals in the motor, you got to cut this lower collar off right here, flush. So you knock off that whole step. The steps center up the springs so they don't move around. The inner one's going to move around a little bit. Got some clearance in there. But we have to make room for the seal, so this is going to just, whatever can float around inside that spring is what it's going to do. Not the best situation, but it's all we got to work with to put seals in it. Top collars look okay. Got some sealer on here, silicone or something. Gotta get that off. Okay, those will all work. I'm good with that. Missing a valve. There it is. Okay, so now we got to determine if we're going to use these valves or not use them. So, have to go through this stuff and figure it out. This one's getting a little gold up right here. It's not the best thing to have. So this valve's not too good. This one here is not gold up yet. It might be worn. Intakes look alright, but I haven't measured them yet. See how much wear they have. It's really rough through here, like it's been sandblasted, but it hasn't been. Or has it? Oh, he did sandblast these heads. Yeah. That's why it feels rough. It has been sandblasted. If you're doing a cheaper job, to reuse all these valves. Getting a little thin up in here too. See what kind of wear you got on them. 309, 309 and a half. A lot of grit on them. And they measure relatively good, within a half a thou. So you could probably clean them up and use them. They are really thin on the head up in here, so it's not too much more of a valve job you can cut on that. It's really thin. So they're getting pretty well used up. Alright, so let me go see what I'm supposed to do on this job because I don't remember. So I'll be back. Okay, back on this project. So I was talking to the owner. We're going to go ahead and put all new valves and guides and valve springs. All that stuff we're replacing. So I'm grabbing through stuff here that we're not going to use. Get another rocker shaft here, which I went and grabbed one out of my inventory to use. And I got 2 more push rods because we only had the 2 here, so I got 2 more. Now he has 4. We're going to keep these different style nuts on here. So these are put on there with Loctite because they won't come off, so I'm going to have to go heat these up with a torch and burn them out of here. Now this top end looks like it got cooked, and it seized up the rocker arm real bad through here. Which was this one here, I think, is the one that came out of there. It's pretty galled up. They chewed up bad. They should look like this where they're nice and smooth and shiny. That's how they're supposed to look. When they look like this, like they had a bunch of rocks and gravel running through it, that's not a good sign for rocker. And both sides are pretty chewed up. So those will be getting rebushed. So I gotta take these back and put these on a torch to get these apart. Then we're gonna start rebuilding the shells and cleaning that mess all up. So all this stuff here needs to be cleaned. So take this stuff in back here and clean it. Boom. This is our junk pile. We're not using any of those parts. We're going to reuse these pistons, so I got to go blast the domes to get all the carbon off of those. These have a lot of rust on these, so I'm going to blast these and get them cleaned up. And do a bunch of stuff like that. All of this stuff here is clean. We're going to reuse this, so I got to clean it. All of these big parts here we have to change out. I already pressed the bearing off of that. We're going to try to reuse those if we can. This stuff here we're going to reuse. Just attempt to. Definitely reuse those. Sure we have to clean these up. So we'll be cleaning all this stuff up here. See how they get these, I don't really call them gall marks, but they get worn pretty heavily. So what I do, I come in here, I hone the surfaces, polish them, and hone the IDs out and make them better. Different O-rings. So these are all going to get cleaned up. This is all part of doing the job. So you guys that can't figure out work on a bike with one hand, this is how you do it. So if you can't work with one hand, you're not very good doing much of anything probably. Years and years of doing stuff. One hand makes you good at it. Okay, also the hard one I use again. So all this is going to get cleaned. Got a little rust damage here. I'm going to have to blast that. Find out if I clean it. Those are getting done. That's getting done. That stuff is too. Shafts, you want to do damage though, so you got to be careful on those 2 parts. There goes. Stuff like this you got to clean, make sure it's good. Alright, so all this little small stuff we're going to clean. Next to the shell I'm going to have to work on yet. And whatever's not here, we're going to have to come up with. That's the fun part. If you don't know where every these little parts go, you probably should be very careful on rebuilding the motor. I know where every one of these pieces go, except for this piece. My guess is that's a rocker washer, but be my guess. I'm pretty good at guessing. Here's our manifold. I'm supposed to go clean this up with the ports a little bit. And we'll touch it up a little bit. It's pretty good already. Be reusing all this. We are not reusing the bearings. Oh, dumbass. fingernails left. Junk part. So here's the Timken bearing already pressed off the gear, the shaft that went down in there. The counter shaft we're going to replace because it has a pit in it. And a little bit of rust, acid etching, but my thumbnail catches on this, so it's bad. It'll turn into a very big, rough, bad area real quick. So that's getting replaced. No questions asked. We're changing it. This here, we might use them, might not. Don't know yet. Got to clean them. Got to clean that mess all up. Rust in there. Have to clean that up. All right. So this stuff's all ready to go. Get cleaned. These need to have the valve guides knocked out, which we can do right now. And then I can go take these to a torch and get these parts off. So I'm going to do a little porting on this. So I don't have to get these clamps out of the way, but it makes it a lot easier to get used. So we'll take the clamps off. See, everything's got organized. It's all about organization. That way you don't get confused in what you're doing. And that does make a difference. The O-rings in there. Just a nice aircraft clamp style with the 1/4 inch thread, not the little 10 thread. The 10 thread, the nut strips, these ones hard to strip these. It's easy to break the clamp before you strip them. The other ones, you strip them. Okay, so I'm going to do a little porting on that when we go in the back. That's going to get cleaned. Some valve guides now. So a piece of wood works good. Need a hammer too. Okay, so these here we got to knock out. These are drivers. So you get a 5/16 and 11/32. Now if you overhang it off the edge of here a little bit, so the guide has room to come off, it makes it a lot easier to get the guide out. Coming up pretty hard. That was a pretty fat ass guide. I did put a 2 over in a 0 hole. 51. Yep, 2 over. There's an 02 right there. So they beat a 2 over guide into a standard hole. That makes them really hard to get out. I couldn't tell if that was bronze or iron. It's bronze. You can see how the porting got a little carried away. If you get the head gasket area, it does damage, so don't do that. My hammer got modified a long time ago for a flat spot. So I always know where centered is. So my hammer always goes down straight, it doesn't go at an angle like this. So you hit pretty even all the time. A little modification I did years ago. Works pretty good. I've seen some new hammers maybe they put a thumb thing up here to do the same thing, but the palm's a lot more accurate. I haven't patented that yet, so you got all over it. It'll work good. Okay, we need some guides. So we're going to need some exhaust and some intakes. So we have to go down here to the valve guide area, which is right over here behind us. Not that one. This one here will work. Exhaust intake, standard 1/, exhaust, got the same thing. Camera's in my way, and we need a little bit of press fit lube also. Okay. So now we're going to beat these in, see what we need. So the first thing we do is get all these out of my way, so I can get down the ones on the bottom. We'll go with the standard, see how it feels. And I beat the 2/, guide in there, they might have opened it up a little bit. We'll see. Whew, stuff stinks. Very high sulfur content grease. Very thick. Where's the intake? Okay, so we beat that in, see what it looks like. Here's the difference in guide between what we're using now and what they had on there. See how it's tapered smaller, so it's got more airflow. It's also slightly taller, but that'll probably be equalized when we're done. That was adequate press fit. That was a standard. Exhaust. Try another one. Now these I usually go 1/, but we'll see how the standard sounds like going in. You never know. Wrong driver. Now right now I got the lip is on top of my board, which is hard on it. So if you overlap it to the edge here, now you're not hitting it. So it protects it. Yeah, that one's good. It could be a little bit tighter, but it's good. So that's adequate. So we took out the 2/, guys, and put standards in. Okay, let's try another standard one on the exhaust again. Man, stuff definitely does stink. Good. On aluminum head that'd be a little bit loose, but on an iron head we're okay because cast iron guide, iron head don't grow much. Aluminum, they grow a lot more. It'd be adequate for an intake, but not the exhaust. Okay, so we went back to standard. I think we're good. So now these all need to be honed out. There's what the porting looks now with the guide in there. Not too bad. Where is it? Oh, there's the guide. Can't see it. So these guys are a little more tapered, not as big, so they'll flow a little better. Okay, just an old shelf, looks good. Actually, it's an old drawer off the maple desk is what that is. Okay, so I'll be back in a minute. I'll put all this away. I'll be back. Okay, we're back here again. Just gonna do a little bit of porting under the manifold. We gotta disassemble these shafts here, so let's start with the shafts. So one of these we're gonna throw away, the other one we're gonna try to keep. This one here is pretty bad. So I'm gonna try to get this off. First thing you do is tighten it up. I'm gonna put a torch to it, warm it up. You get about 350 degrees, Loctite melts, then you should be able to zap it off pretty quickly. At least that's the plan. That should be enough. If it's smoking really good, you're probably 400 or 500 degrees already. Okay, that one came off. A little bit warm though, so you gotta be careful about touching it. If you touch it down here, it won't burn you. At least until the heat transfers. One down. Now these ran pretty damn hot. You can see how bluish black they are. So these things definitely got really, really crispy. Usually that's from overheating the motor and losing all the oil to it. Probably stuck in traffic for about 20 minutes at least on a hot day. That'll do it. Stupid ass torch. Crispy critters. Time for some ventilation in here. Open the window up. When you put these in the vise, don't clamp on the bearing journal. This here's a bearing, that's a bearing, and the middle here doesn't matter. So see all those marks are all chewed up? That's, you can be there all day you want. Over here where this wear mark is, you want to be on those. Don't hit in one spot, that way it'll be more even. It's warm. That's over 500 on that one. Alright, all the stinky parts done. Okay, where'd the manifold go? Okay, I'm going to clamp this manifold out. So these S&S manifolds are pretty good already. Not too much spots to really matter. Basically, you just got a little bit right here on the edge, blending right through here. These machine marks. So we're going to bend these radiuses around into here. If you can kind of get there, we can kind of see what we're doing. Right there. I want to blend that area right there, make a nice long radius all the way around the whole thing. That's pretty much where you're really doing most of the work, is right here in these two corners here. This upper stuff is always usually too big, so it doesn't restrict. You got a little bit of a dimple right here. You can take that off a little bit, but not too much because it's thin in there. But you go like that with your fingers, you can feel how thick it is. About an 1/8 inch. So you can blow that off right there. There's enough material. Pretty much just use this cutter here. I'm not trying to make any divots in there. I'm trying to make a nice smooth radius. Nice radius around there. See how this side here is stock on this side. Just dimple out a little bit. So basically you can start turning way back here if you want. So you got a 1/4 inch, you can pull that back. So you can make that whole thing an active radius area. Okay, now we got to blend a little bit more on this side here. It's a bit sharp on this side, so do that also. Meantime, I go back on this side and do the same up here. This one doesn't have the big dimple here on the top, so there's not much I can do on the top. But I can go and just blend that in a little bit. Yeah, it looks like that. Just makes a nice radius all the way around, no edges and everything. So we got a little bit on this corner here to take out now, so we do it from the other side. And we do this one all the way around the whole thing, blend it, because you don't want to hit this edge coming through the flow of this direction. So just blend it, but you don't want to make it too thin through here, so be careful. This side. I don't know if you can see much in there. Blowing it up a little bit might help, I don't know. There's a lot of moving back and forth and in and out like that, making a radius. First you take off the high spot, then everything else is blending. Back the other angle, blend it some more. Both sides. This side on here now. Take off the high spot and then blend. Make it nice and smooth and even. If you feel a high spot in there, knock it out. Flip over, check it again. Alright, most of it's out. Got a little bit of a lip in here I still don't like too much there, but it's hard to blend it in right here. It's a low spot. This side here, we don't have that low spot in there as much. Blown up way too big. So this side here is pretty well gone on this side here, but on this side of the manifold we got a lot of core shift, so it's in here. There it is right there. So we can try cutting a little deeper, but I don't want to cut too deep in there. It's all the way around the whole thing, so. The bottom we're pretty good on. So, just a matter of how much you want to open it up. See, the little lip is definitely not the best. Let's see if we can get some of that out of there. Not much. It's pretty much in there. It's a low spot, not a high spot. It's hard to cut it away. Alright, so that's pretty good. Remember, you're flowing this direction. So this is our low spot here. This is our dimple right here. So dimple, you can see it's almost all gone from all directions because I was hitting it from this angle and this angle, knocking it's a triangle shaped dimple. We're knocking down consistently the whole thing in the bottom. So trying to make it flat, fairly flat. There's a little bit of a high spot to it, but you don't want to cut it all out. And so you feel like this, you feel how thick it is. And so if you go in here and weld this area up, you can cut it all out, but you have to, your bolt will going to be real close, but you can trim the bolt head down if you need to. For racing, you do stuff like that. For street, you don't need to. Last thing you want to do is deburr the edge. So you just take our deburring tool here, knock off that sharp edge. That way you don't cut an O-ring, don't cut you. And there might be a slight misalignment between the head and the manifold. A little lip there will help smooth it out a little bit. But overall, that's how you do it. It's quick and simple. Stock manifolds aren't nearly as big, so there's a lot more cutting involved, but these are pretty easy to do. Makes them a lot easier. Okay, those shafts are still hot. We'll let them cool off. I gotta do a bunch of cleaning, so I'm gonna go clean a bunch of parts off, and then we'll be back. My hands are getting dirty too. So, all right, that's it for now.